Right, today we are diving deep into the world of SAP Asset Management. We're going to talk about how some of the world's biggest companies manage their most critical and expensive physical assets. You know, things like entire power grids or those giant robots in a factory. Ready? Let's jump right in.
So, I want you to picture this. Imagine you're in charge of a huge manufacturing plant or maybe an offshore oil rig. How do you manage a multi-million-dollar piece of machinery and keep it running perfectly? Not just for today or this week, but for its entire lifespan. We're talking maybe 30 years. From the first sketch on a napkin to its final retirement, that is the core challenge we're looking at.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the main challenge with modern assets. Then we'll walk through an asset's entire life. After that, we'll get into the specific SAP tools that get the job done, see why connecting everything is so important, and finally, check out what it's like to actually use the system.
Okay, so at its heart, asset management is really just a constant balancing act. On one hand, you're trying to push your equipment to perform at its absolute peak, to be as reliable as possible. But on the other hand, you have to keep your costs, for operations, for maintenance, as low as you possibly can. And it's that tension right there between performance and cost that every single organization is dealing with.
So how do you actually win that balancing act? Well, you've got to step back and look at the whole picture. It isn't just about fixing things when they break. No, it's about managing that asset through its entire life. This whole journey, from the very first idea to the day you finally get rid of it, that's the asset life cycle. And that's really the playbook for doing this smartly.
And here's what that journey looks like step by step. It all starts with planning the investment. Should we even buy this thing? Then you get into the actual project, buying all the parts and putting it together. Once it's up and running, your focus shifts to day-to-day maintenance and, of course, worker safety. All while you're constantly keeping an eye on how it's performing, both technically and financially. And then, way down the line, you have the planned shutdown and disposal. A really great system has to handle every single one of these stages without a hitch.
Now, managing that entire life cycle, that obviously takes a very specific, very powerful set of tools. So let's actually look at the solutions SAP has to make all of this happen.
First up, you've got SAP Intelligent Asset Management, or IAM. You should think of this as the smart layer. It's the predictive brain of the operation. It's all cloud-based, and it uses data, sensor readings, you name it, to predict problems before they actually happen. The whole goal here is to stop failures in their tracks and get away from just reacting to problems.
Then there's SAP S/4HANA Asset Management. This is the foundation, right? It's the central nervous system for the whole thing. This is the core system where all the really important stuff lives. All the asset data, the work orders, the maintenance history. The smart predictions from IAM, well, they feed right into this core system to create work that people can actually do.
And this is where the rubber meets the road. The SAP Service and Asset Manager. That's the mobile app. It takes all that great data from the S/4HANA core and all the smart insights from IAM and puts it right into the hands of the technician who's out in the field, on their tablet or phone. It's that final crucial link connecting the whole system to the person actually doing the work.
Okay, so those three tools are incredibly powerful, for sure. But that's not the whole story. The real magic, the absolute superpower of using a system like SAP, isn't just about one of those tools. It's about how they are all deeply, automatically connected to every other part of the business.
And this table really shows you what I mean. Let's just follow one tiny task. A technician uses a spare part. The second they record that on their app, bam! The system automatically tells materials management to reserve a new part from the warehouse. It tells financial accounting to post the cost. It updates the controlling team so they can see their planned budget versus what they're actually spending in real time. It even checks with HR to make sure the technician is qualified for the job. This kind of seamless flow just gets rid of the paperwork and gives everyone a live, complete picture of the business. It lets you make way smarter decisions way faster.
So we have this incredibly powerful, super integrated system. But what's it actually like to use it? You know, in the old days, systems like this could be, well, let's just say they were complicated. The whole approach now, though, is to make all of that complex work feel simple and easy.
And a thing that brings that modern approach to life is the SAP Fiori Launchpad. You can just forget about those old, clunky, text-heavy screens. Fiori is a clean, modern central place for every single user to start their day. It's designed to give people exactly what they need to do their job and nothing else.
So what does that really mean for a person using it? It means you have one place to go for everything. The screen you see is totally personalized for your job. A maintenance planner is going to see something totally different than a technician in the field. It works great on any device, and because it just runs in a web browser, there's nothing complicated to install. It's all about getting users the info they need as fast and as easy as possible.
You know, after looking at the whole life cycle, the tools, the integration, the user experience, it all really comes back to this one single idea. This quote nails it. This is the guiding principle behind everything we've talked about. Every single feature is there to hit that one ultimate goal, getting the best performance you can at the lowest possible cost.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. With systems like this, our assets are basically starting to talk to us through data. They're telling us when they need maintenance, how they're performing, where we can make things better. So the real question for the future is, when your most critical assets can finally speak to you, what's the very first thing you're going to ask them?